I've got some news that's going to blow the damn socks off every QNT holder and turn those on-the-fence users into actual holders, because believe it or not, this information is right in front of our faces. It's smoke and mirrors, but no one seems to be getting it, right? It's that, writing on the wall. And again, it's really frustrating because why has no one talked about this sort of stuff, okay? I don't want you guys buying in Quant Network when it's at $1,000 or $1,500, okay? This stuff is going to be implemented very, very soon, and a lot of it is more than just a coincidence. Let me explain. Let me take your attention now to the screen in front of you, where we go back in time about a month to the 16th of June, where Gilbert announced that we're officially working with the Bank of International Settlements, which is like a central bank of all central banks, working on what's called Project Rosalind, pretty much implementing a retail CBDC into the UK economy. Now, they're obviously working, as you can see here, with the Bank of England over here, and also all of these participants, right? Bank of Canada for, central bank to central bank transfers, Barclays for, any sort of payments to and from a large financial institution, MasterCard, so cross-border payments, and Amazon as well, which I'm sure would have replicated the economy to some degree, okay? So they definitely tested Quant in this aspect, which was official now, okay? So we all knew about this on the 16th of June, and what Gilbert says down here got me thinking, right? So he says, CBDCs are coming. I encourage every bank and financial institution to read the Project Rosalind report and start planning their smart money infrastructure strategy. Now, on the surface, I think we can all agree that that doesn't really mean too much. He's just trying to promote his product. Cool, sweet, whatever. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. But this is where things get interesting and where you got to kind of think about a coincidence as something that happens by pure chance. But I definitely don't think what happened next was 11 days later, Quant officially released the Overledger platform that has been apparently out to large institutions for a while now. No one really knew that. But guys, what timing is that? 11 days after they successfully said that they were working with the BIS, right? And obviously that sort of testing Project Rosalind was a success. So in my opinion, this does not come as a pure coincidence, right? I believe Quant announced their actual, Overledger platform was officially released to the public because it was officially used and it was successful. And therefore you have all these large institutions now, most importantly, the BIS, attesting to the fact that Quant will now be used if a large financial institution says, hey, knock, knock, knock on the BIS board and goes, guys, are you actually using Quant? Should we be leveraging Quant Network? They're going to say, yes, use it. It's going to be implemented into every retail CBDCs sometime in the future. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Kyron, all right, CBDCs, are they really coming? What's Gilbert talking about? Yes, they're coming, right? So this was another tweet from Quant Network themselves on June 21st, right? So what they say here, what actually happened here was a panel between all of these people. So we had Liz, this lady was moderating. We had Alessandro, group head of digital currency, Nexi. We had Manuel, right, the product manager, blockchain solutions and digital currency at Deutsche Bank, which is huge. We had Emma over here, which is the vice president product manager over at JP Morgan. We had Daniel over here at the European Central Bank. And then obviously we had Gilbert, right? So again, the panel was like talking about CBDCs. What is the outlook for CBDCs in Europe? And if we scroll right to the end of this thread, way, there's like 100 bloody messages off tweets on the thread. What do they say here? CBDCs by 2030. You heard it here first. So the moderator, Liz, said after the whole panel that CBDCs are coming by 2030. So what does this mean for Quant? Okay, well, wouldn't it make sense for after the good news of Project Rosalind for Quant Network to say, hey, we officially announced that we now have the Overledger working. Anyone can obviously use it right now. And then again, you can attest to the fact with the big boys, even Amazon and so on and so forth, now know about Quant, that it is a working product and it is a viable solution. So now we have a time frame. 2030 is when all of this will start to take place. And we knew this, right? Most of us knew that CBDCs were coming 2025 to 2030. And so my mind goes, okay, doesn't it make sense that they want to implement Quant Network into not just the UK economy, because the BIS works with like 63 other central banks, but as many central banks and economies as possible? Doesn't that make sense to you? And you can call me crazy. You can say, Kyron, well, I don't see Quant being used in every one of those 63 central banks, right? Or at least economies. And that might be true, of course. But remember, they all talk together. They're not going to want to use different solutions because that is a pain in the damn ass. And if they know something works, it's just easy that they use it, okay? And that's kind of the philosophy a lot of these large institutions follow, okay? They don't want to, they're not professionals in this field. They'll just use what works, right? And obviously we know now that Quant works. And so I believe we will see the adoption of Quant Network because the BIS is going, Quant, get your damn Overledger in all of the economies we're working with. Therefore, when it does come time to officially release the CBDCs, Quant is going to be there. Quant is already integrated And that, of course, is just crazy, right? So obviously Gilbert's been on a massive tirade recently. Now, I haven't, really known about Quant any longer than the last like 8 or 9 months. But for all of you maxis and you guys have been following the project for ages, I personally at least haven't seen Gilbert more active on his Twitter than what he is now. This guy's like pushing and pushing and pushing Quant Network, especially the Overledger, and telling as many institutions as possible, putting the message out there, you guys need to be prepared, be prepared, be prepared, which further supports my theory, okay? So one thing I want to point out as well, so this was the appendix of the BIST report, the official report that came out of Project Rosalind, and you can see here, the vendor team was Quant and UST. Now, UST is one of Quant's partners, and obviously you have all of their actual users, right? The guys that were in there testing the Overledger itself, testing the API. But I want to take your attention over to UST. And for those who don't know, UST is the leading digital transformation solutions company, and they pretty much work to bring sort of Web 2 companies that essentially don't really know too much about the online technology world or too much about what's happening here with Quant, and they transform them, right? It's a digital transformation business. They take them from knowing nothing to knowing enough and implementing the right solutions, which would be obviously Quant or Quant's API and the Overledger, okay? So it's very important we recognize this because, well, guess what? We need to look at UST's partners, because if UST comes out with some massive name partners, now obviously they don't have to partner with UST for UST to help them in this transformation period, then of course they're most likely going to be leveraging Quant to some degree. Now remember, Quant is a white label service, so none of these people have to actually announce it. Nevertheless, it's a perfect, type event. You have Quant and then you have UST, and UST was also tested in Project Rosalind, and obviously they will be used to help those sort of developing businesses, those small to medium enterprises, have the infrastructure to then onboard Quant and therefore have the retail CBDC implemented, again, with the overall goal of having it ready by the time that those economies implement the CBDC itself. It doesn't make any sense, in my opinion, and I think you can agree with me, if all of a sudden one day the central bank said, hey guys, we got the CBDC coming out tomorrow or in the next 12 months. That would be panicky for the government, because essentially they're going to have to somehow get all of these businesses onto the same network, right, through the same API. And if they start now in 2023, they have 7 years or even more to then plan that, okay? So that makes a lot of sense, and that is the real unlock. Now, I want you to remember that, what did Gilbert say all the way back over here in I don't even know when he said it, in 2020. He was responding to a comment that said, if you ended up in engagement with a central bank, would we find out? And what did Gilbert say? The central bank will announce what we're doing with them. So that's happened recently, okay? That's happened with the Bank of England, tested with the Bank of Canada, so you can damn well bet it's going to be used by them, and all of the damn Commonwealth countries no doubt will be at least using this, Australia, so on and so forth, New Zealand, it goes on from there. And guys, if we're talking about just absorbing value from the Commonwealth countries, I think we all pretty well know Quant's going to go to the damn moon. So again, this was all kind of writing on the wall. I hope this has made sense. And remember guys, what did your Gilbert say down here? CBDCs are coming. So if you have enjoyed this video, if you didn't know this information, I would really appreciate a like. And remember, it's writing on the walls. This stuff anyone can find out. You just have to kind of read what's in front of you and kind of just put the pieces together. So guys, please subscribe. I do daily content. I actually do 2 videos a day. So if you want the most information possible out of the crypto space, please subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Take care.